guys, and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Coco LaBon. Today I'm actually going to make seafood gumbo, and I will share the recipe that I found online. It has a ton of ingredients, and I'm just showing you everything. I'm just going to run through it very quickly. Got white vinegar, beef broth. I'm adding Creole seasoning and some shrimp and crab boil just for extra flavor. Can of stewed tomatoes, tomato sauce, Worcestershire sauce, which I can never pronounce right, thyme leaves, bay leaves, hot sauce, okra. Also have some diced onions here, and that's just a diced sweet Vidalia onion, kind of chopped coarsely. Red bell pepper, you could do red or green. I've got just a few shrimp here, fresh shrimp that I have deveined, taken the tail off, and then I just cut the shrimp in half because I want them to have nice chunks of shrimp in there. And then I've got andouille sausage here, and a couple of cloves of diced garlic. And in the pan, I actually have bacon grease and, I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Bacon grease and a little flour so I can start creating my roux. And to that I am going to add, I'm going to go ahead and add a little of this. Well, let me just stir it up first actually here. And this is the first time I'm making this particular recipe, so a little excited and a little hungry at the same time. And I think I'm going to add a little more. I'll come back in a second. I'm going to add a little more bacon grease and a little more flour because that's going to cook out very quickly. And you want to know where I get my bacon grease? I do actually have a little can that I put on the stove. I don't use it very much, but it does add really rich flavor and moisture, so I will come back in just a minute. Okay, this is actually starting to look pretty good. I'll turn the heat down a little bit so that I don't want to scorch it, but I need to cook that flour a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some seasonings in here. And right now it's just to taste, so I'm adding my Cajun seasoning, a little bit of this crab boil, just maybe a tablespoon or so. And this is going to be a quick gumbo, by the way. Wow, I can just smell that right now. And I'm going to see if I can add my garlic over here. I'm doing a one-handed operation, so I'm going to add that. I don't want this to burn, so I'm going to add a little bit of my beef stock very quickly. Okay, get that base going. Stir it up and make sure nothing is burning. Boy, it starts cooking really fast too. Okay, there we go. And this is going to cook fast. I'm just going to put a splash of the hot sauce in there now because it's just going to make the flavor richer. The longer these flavors sit in there. I'm going to add a little bit of the Worcestershire sauce. Again, this is going to be a quick gumbo. A lot of times you have to cook it for 2 hours. This is going to be probably an hour. I'm going to go ahead and put a tablespoon of white distilled vinegar. So I've got my vinegar here. And again, this is all about building flavor, building flavor. That looks amazing. That is a nice, rich roux right there. Okay, I'm going to come back in a second because I need both of my hands to add other ingredients. All right, so we got this going. turned my fire on low. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some more beef broth. And I'm just really eyeballing a lot of this. That adds a nice color. We're just going to add the whole box because it's not that much really. Okay. Then I'm actually going to put in some water. So it's not overly thick. Okay. Now I'm going to add some, go ahead and add my veggies and the rest of this garlic. So my sausage is, technically it's already cooked, which is good. And the shrimp, of course, isn't going to take any time. So the veggies will be nice and fresh and they can cook. I'm going to turn the heat up on this broth and let this cook. And, you know, we're just going to be building these flavors. So I'm going to turn the heat up. Okay. Back up to like medium high. Go ahead and put, I'm going to put like 3 bay leaves in here. We got these here. I'm going to put some thyme in here. And I'm just, again, I'm eyeballing this. Stir that up a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Maybe just a teaspoon or so. I can always add more at the end. And I'm going to go ahead and add my tomato sauce and my stewed tomatoes. And we'll stir this up some more. Okay, this has been boiling for about a half hour. I have tasted it. Tastes amazing. You definitely want your base stock to have the flavor that you want. I did make a couple of adjustments. The recipe did call for about a teaspoon of sugar. I put that in there. That gave it a nice balance. And just because I love smoked paprika, I put just a couple of shakes of that in there just to add more depth to the flavor. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the sausage, which again, this is already cooked. And that is andouille sausage. Of course, you can use a chicken sausage, or, you know, you don't have to put any meat in here if you don't want to. Stir that up. And then I kind of cheated. I got like a can of okra. So I'm putting this in slowly because I don't want the top of the okra in there. I already found a couple of tops and I don't want that. This is a pretty big batch, so I'm probably going to have to freeze some of this. If you don't like okra, you can skip this. I actually happen to like okra. It's not something I eat every day, but I do like it. So I am not opposed to okra. And actually, my grandparents had a farm, and they actually grew big crops of okra. So we used to eat it pretty often. So I've got that going. Let me grab my shrimp out of the refrigerator. And these are just going to cook pretty quickly, so I'm not really worried about putting these in at this point. They will cook quickly. I'm just going to stir that in there. I really like the color of this base, though. This base stock is very nice. And then I'm just going to cover this back up. Maybe let this cook another 20 minutes or so, and we'll see the final product. The gumbo has been boiling for about 30-45 minutes. And remember, we put the shrimp in last, but it takes shrimp no time to cook. You can see a little piece there, so that's definitely done. There you go. And I'm just gonna mix that in. Sometimes people just put like a scoop of rice in the middle of the bowl and then pour the gumbo around it. So sometimes I do that. And then sometimes, you know, it's nice just to have everything in one pot. So I'm just mixing it up really good. I'm going to have to pull my bay leaves out later. But I can tell this is the best gumbo I've ever made in my life. The flavor of this broth is out of this world. So thank you again for joining me for another episode of Cooking with Coco LaBon. And I'm going to put the recipe below if you want to try it. I did change a couple of things. The only other thing I did was I added about a teaspoon, well, I'll say a tablespoon of white wine. And that just gave it another nice little kick. And a little bit of paprika, not very much, but a little bit of smoked paprika. So it just gave it that little extra something. But the flavor is amazing. So thank you again for joining me. See you next time on Cooking with Coco LaBon.